Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Xbox On, where today we're talking about the Xbox Series X, because honestly, at the moment, when aren't we talking about this amazing console? You might have heard that the Xbox Series X is twice as powerful as an Xbox One X, so let's take a peek under the hood to explain exactly how powerful the next generation is going to be, and what it means for the most important part of all this, the games. Let's start by diving into some of those specs. When you're talking power, the two most important things to look at are the CPU, that's the central processing unit, aka the brain of the console, and the GPU, or the graphics card, responsible for all that visual goodness. So, the CPU. It's a custom designed chip using the latest Zen 2 CPU architecture from AMD. Zen 2 first arrived on the processing scene last July, and it offers a significant step up in CPU performance. When it comes to numbers though, the most important thing that you need to know about the CPU is that it's octa-core, meaning the chip is actually made up of 8 individual processors that can all work together or focus on different tasks. 7 of those 8 cores are available to games, with 1 reserved for running the operating system and everything else that keeps the console itself ticking. Drilling down into those cores, the key spec to take notice of is the peak frequency each core can run at, 3.8 GHz. This is a measure of how many clock cycles it can complete in a single second. In this case, 3.8 billion of them. Now times that by 8 and you're dealing with some serious processing power. To put all those stats and specs into perspective, the Xbox Series X processor is capable of running 4 Xbox One S game sessions. That's 4 entire games all on one chip simultaneously. We'll give you a little moment to digest that. Okay, hopefully you've recovered because we've got more good news for you. It's time to take a closer look at that GPU. The big number here is one you've probably heard already, 12 teraflops of computer power. Or actually 12.155 teraflops if we're being exact about it. To break that spec up a bit, FLOP stands for floating point operations per second. Operations in this case being the calculations required to render the polygons that you're looking at. Tera means a trillion and 12 is, well, a dozen. Hopefully you already knew that last one. Anyway, that's 12 trillion operations every second, which is a lot. For comparison, the Xbox One S GPU has 1.4 teraflops, so Xbox Series X is 8.5 times more powerful than that. Xbox One X made a big jump to 6 teraflops, and the Series X is still double that. But even that doesn't tell the full story, because it's not just the flops that matter. The GPU is another custom-designed chip based on AMD architecture, in this case, the brand new RDNA 2.0. This tech is so new that RDNA 2 graphics cards aren't actually available yet, even for PC, and it's bringing some serious advancements in performance and efficiency, which basically means you get more bang for your flop. When you factor in neat little tricks like variable rate shading, we'll get to that in a minute, you can expect over twice the graphical performance of Xbox One X, which isn't bad given that the Xbox One X is the most powerful console currently on the market. Okay, so just now I promised you some variable rate shading chat, so variable rate shading chat you'll have. Known as VRS for short, this is another method Xbox Series X is using to squeeze even more performance out of that GPU. It's basically able to figure out the most important parts of what you're looking at and prioritize them so it can focus its graphical power on adding more detail to the characters and environmental objects where it's going to be most appreciated by your eye. The end result is higher and more stable resolutions and frame rates without any perceptible loss in graphical quality. Speaking of resolution and frame rates, there's one vitally important question we still need to answer. What does all this actually mean for the games you'll be playing on Xbox Series X? Well, the baseline is that all games will be able to run in 4K 60. That's 3840 by 2160 pixels of graphical goodness being fired into your eyes at 60 frames per second for the crispest and most responsive console gaming you've ever experienced. And that's just as standard. The Xbox Series X will support frame rates all the way up to 120 FPS. The decision is being left in the hands of individual developers as it might not be right for every game. But these monstrously fast frame rates are perfect for competitive esports games that demand speed and precision, and blockbuster titles that want to push the boundaries of realism further than ever before. As well as an increase in pure visual fidelity, Xbox Series X is going to be capable of some rather cool graphical tricks that will make games look better than ever before. The big one is hardware-accelerated DirectX ray tracing. Not the most catchy name maybe, but it's the results that really matter. And those results are flipping gorgeous. Ray tracing is able to accurately map the way light travels and bounces off objects in the world. These are called intersections, and Xbox Series X is able to calculate up to 380 billion intersections per second. This allows games to feature lighting, shadows, and reflections that are amazingly true to life, and it works for sound too, enabling more realistic acoustics and spatial audio. It's the same technology used in movie CG, which should give you an idea of just how good the results can look. Oh, and the hardware accelerated bit. It just means it's tapping directly into the power of the GPU, which has been designed with ray tracing in mind, rather than relying on software to handle the calculations. Achieving the same results without hardware acceleration would have eaten up over 13 teraflops, according to Xbox system architect Andrew Goosen. Taking this approach means the console has the equivalent of over 25 teraflops to play with, just for ray tracing. It's just another example of how specs are important, but it's what you do with them that really counts. And Xbox Series X is doing everything it can to squeeze every last drop out of its already impressive hardware. So that's everything you need to know about the power of the Xbox Series X. But this is just one aspect of what makes it great. There's also the speed of the SSD, form factor design, and of course, that all-important backwards compatibility. But those are stories for another time. To make sure you don't miss out on any of our videos on the Xbox Series X, just subscribe to the channel and hit that bell so you're notified about every new one as it drops. In the meantime though, give us a like and say hi down in the comments below, and we'll see you again next time.